Hi, everybody. How's it going? Just have a check that you can hear me and you can see me okay. So let's just have a sound check and a visual check. Just let me know if it's all good. Is everything good, guys? Yeah, good video and sound. Okay, so we'll just sort of chat for a little bit while we're waiting for a few people to come in. I've got no sort of fixed agenda for this evening at all. I'll start off by just sort of talking a little bit about where we've been, what we've been doing, a little bit about 2020. Then we'll have a talk about 2021, and then we can do some questions off you guys. We can just chat through till about 11:30, and at 11:30 p.m. I'm going to hand over to Matt at the Geo Nation, who's going to start his marathon stream, and I believe he's going out and about. He's in the comments now. I can see a few people we got in here. We got Jerry Good from Jerry Good. Go and check out his channel. We got Matt from the Geo Nation in the chat. We've got Noel at Caliber Rings, Royston M. I can see. Robert Shaw. Who else have we got? John Jang, Phil Ho. So there's quite a few people coming in, but there's more coming in as we speak. We're up to about 120 now. Please do me a favor and hit that like button. It will get us out there. But first off, it's 9 o'clock. It's just turned 2021 in Australia. So we've got Melbourne, Sydney and Canberra. So happy New Year to any one of you who is tuning in from any of those destinations. That's really pretty cool. You're one of the first ones. I think Tonga's the first one. It's about sort of 6 o'clock China time. And then we have Australia, seen in the new year from about 9 till sort of 10:30, and then it moves on to Japan and South Korea at about 11 o'clock China time. But it's great to see you all. So first, I just want to say that a massive thank you to all of you guys who supported us throughout 2020. 2020 has been a tough year for a lot of people. It's been a kind of good year for us in a sense that because of COVID, and I feel sort of slightly guilty talking about this because COVID was kind of a blessing in disguise for the channel. Oh, just before I carry on, you're probably wondering where Ollie is. Ollie, as he's a young guy, he's partying with his mates tonight. He will be out till the early hours of tomorrow morning, I guess. But me being a bit older, I'm not partaking in that. I'm more of a stay-at-home kind of guy. So I thought I'd do a live stream for you guys. So anyway, back to last year. I mean, it sort of kicked off just as Chinese New Year was approaching. We'd planned to go to Changsha, myself and my partner and her daughter. And about sort of 2 weeks, I think, if I remember rightly, before New Year, we started hearing about some strange virus that was going around. And then within the next week, my partner had cancelled the tickets, and there was a lot of stuff appearing in Chinese social media that we got to be really careful, and that it's not a good idea to travel. And then before we knew it, we're in lockdown. Here in Shenzhen, the lockdown wasn't like it was in some other places. We were still able to go out of our apartments. We were still able to go shopping and move about quite freely within our sort of areas of Shenzhen. There was a lot of roadblocks and checkpoints And initially we thought, wow, this is a bit over the top, but later it developed into how it was. But that prompted myself and Oliver to really sort of concentrate on our YouTube channel. And we hang on, let me just sort my picture out on this pad, because this is where I'm getting my comments. There's something not going on quite right here, so let's just try and fix it. Just bear with me 1 second. So yeah, we couldn't do much because pretty much everything was closed and there was nothing going on. So what we decided to do is concentrate on our YouTube channel. Up until that point, we were putting out one video a week, maybe two, with the odd one in between the one a week we were doing. And at that time, I sort of started to pick up that what I was seeing in the media in the West, in the UK press especially, was very different to what I was experiencing here in Shenzhen. So I thought, well, what I need to do is I need to start making some videos to start telling people what actually the situation's like here in China. And I was in touch with somebody from Huanggang, which is the city next to Wuhan. And I communicated with her, and then I was pulling in information from other sources, sort of WeChat groups and various other Chinese news sources. And I started pulling together a sort of video every day, which I think I released one a day for probably 35 days. And that was pretty hard going. I mean, people think making videos is easy, but it's not. It's really pretty time consuming. And so I put these videos out there, one every day. And what it was really aiming to do was try and push back a little bit against a lot of the rumor and speculation that was happening in the Western media, because there was lots of sort of false stories, speculation about how many people were infected, how many people were dying, all this kind of thing. And also at that time, we were under a pressure from my family saying, "Oh, you need to come back." It was all over the Western press that there's this outbreak in China and it's really dangerous and many people are dying. And we were urged by our family to return to the UK. Me and Oliver had a sort of small chat about that, but there was nothing really in our minds that suggested we were going to go back. So we took the decision to stay here. And as it turns out, that was probably one of the best decisions we ever made, simply because, one, it turned out to be very, very safe here. I mean, Wuhan was sort of sacrificed to save the rest of China. The authorities here acted once they'd got over the initial few missteps in Wuhan. They were very quick to get organized, and they were very quick to sort of lock down China and test huge amounts of people, quarantine people, etc. And as I say, it was here in Shenzhen. We're in the province of Dongguan. There wasn't a huge amount of cases. Dongguan's a province with 110 million people, and I think we had in the high hundreds or low thousands, if I remember, and that's pretty remarkable for such a huge province. And so I followed that news through, and as things started to open up, me and Oliver then but started to travel. But in that time, we put out those videos every single day, and that gained us a huge amount of subscribers. And I think some of those subscribers are still with us, today, which is absolutely fantastic that you've stuck with us. So I just want to say a massive thank you to all those people who support us through that time and have supported us through the whole of 2020. And it's actually pretty much really allowed me and Oliver to now do this on a full-time basis. And, I've had many different jobs and career paths in my life. And this is one of the sort of most enjoyable I've ever done. We're now able to travel to different parts of China to see different things and do all sorts of things and bring that content to you. I mean, our goal is, I'm aware that there's a lot of negativity from the Western media and Western politicians, and it's really to push back against that. It kind of annoys me a little bit when I see this negativeness in the press, and especially from other YouTubers, and a lot of those YouTubers. It's kind of funny that a lot of the people who are negative about China have never been here or are not here. They've spent time here, and China's a place that changes very, very quickly. It's moving forward at a massively fast rate, and so if you're out of China for more than a couple of years, things change very quickly. I remember in the early years when I was coming to China, I've been coming for about 13 or 14 years now. And originally I spent time in Shanghai, later in Guangzhou, and finally in Shenzhen. But I remember I'd be in Guangzhou, and there was so much building going on at that time, sort of 8 or 10 years ago. And I'd go back to the UK for a month or two, and I'd come back to Guangzhou, and it'd be like, oh, that wasn't there when I left, and that's new. And it was changing at such an incredible rate. So, I just feel that, if you're out of the country for 2+ years and you're a YouTuber, you really don't know what's going on. Anyway, so it is the last day of 2020, and we're going to welcome in the new year. I won't welcome in the new year with you guys. I'm going to pass over to Matt from the Gio Nation at about 11:30, and then we'll continue in his stream. So I'm just going to have a look at some comments now. As I say, I don't have any agenda, so we can get some questions in. We can discuss some things off you guys. Reason we haven't done a live stream for such a long time is that we've been pretty busy. We've just recently come back about a week or so ago from a sort of 3-week trip where we started off in Zhangjiakou. We went to the Geely car factory to see the Lynk & Co cars being built, and we had a test drive of a Lynk & Co 03 Plus, and that was pretty cool. Really, really nice car. And after that, we went to Beijing, and we did some stuff in Beijing. We went to a really cool Beijing Kaoyan restaurant. I had the Beijing roast duck, as it's known in the West as Peking roast duck. And from we then spent some time in Beijing with China Radio International and did some pretty cool stuff. We went to a Huawei R&D center, which was pretty cool. See some of the latest tech in operation. And one of the highlights for me, we went to first one was a community center that was set up for older people, and that was really, really good. I mean, that was in the heart of Beijing, and it's a government-sponsored project for older people, and they can go there and do crafts and art, and the women were dancing and they were singing, and it was just for all sort of retired older people to go, and that was really something good to see. And secondly, we were very privileged to get a sort of prime position at the flag raising ceremony. We had to get up very early for that one. It's sort of 5:30 in the morning. But we went there, and it was a beautiful morning in the square. And we saw the soldiers march across the road. And what was amazing, I thought, there's a main road where the soldiers walk across the road, and for about 15 minutes or so while they have the flag raising ceremony, they stop all the traffic, and it was amazing how quiet it was when all that traffic stopped. But that was something that was really quite special. I'd never seen that before, and it was really, really impressive. And I know that's very important to a lot of Chinese people. And something else I learned, that they raise that flag at sunrise, and so it occurs on a different time at different parts of the year, because obviously the sunrise changes and the flag's raised at sunrise. Anyway, I'm going to address a few questions in the chat in a few seconds, but before I do, I have here my glass of wine. I'm not a huge drinker, but I'll toast you guys for a glass of wine. I have actually a bottle here, so I'm going to be sipping that throughout the stream. And I'm also have company my box of chocolates. I was really kind of excited today. I went to the local supermarket, which is a Sam's Club, part of Walmart, and I noticed they got these Quality Street chocolates, and it just reminds me of when I'm in the UK. We had a box of those every year at Christmas, and it's quite a British thing. So yeah, so right, let's have a look at some of the chat, and we'll see what's going on here. So first of all, a thank you for that super sticker to Steve. That is much appreciated. Steve's a big follower of our channel. We really appreciate that, Steve. I see you comment on almost every one of our videos, maybe more than once. And also Jackie, Happy New Year, best wishes from Chinese friend. Thank you very much for that as well, Jackie. It's to people like you who support us that we can continue to bring you content all year round. So let's have a look. Or if you wake up tomorrow, it's too late. I would contact you for the sponsor of wines. Quality Street from the UK. Yeah, I mean these are a lovely chocolate. It's the first time I've ever seen them in a supermarket in China, and I just bought. I mean, they are much more expensive here. I mean, a tin like that would cost probably £5 or £6 maybe in the UK. It's a kilogram tin. Here in China, it was 128 RMB, which is about 14 or 15 pounds. But it's not going to break the bank, and it's nice to have a treat now and again. Hang on a minute, we got a bit of issue going on with the focus there. Let's just try and sort that out. Oh, hang on, it's not. See if we can focus on my face. That's better. We've got the focus back. I've got the auto focus on, so sometimes it might lose a little bit of focus. So let's have a look. Right, looking forward to 2021. Yeah, I mean, let's all hope 2021 is a much better year than 2020's been. I know there's a lot of people in a lot of countries going into 2021 in lockdown. You know, I see the US have set a new record today with the amount of coronavirus deaths. It's really getting worse in the UK. I think the UK had about 980 deaths yesterday, and I noticed now one region has sort of declared a major incident, so they can call the army in to help out with what's going on. And I feel that's really sad, and it sort of highlights that the governments could have done a much better job. You know, if you look at New Zealand and Australia, which have also done a pretty good job, and China have done a superb job. You know, I know there's been a few cases in Beijing again, and in some areas in the north. And we were planning to go up to Harbin in January, but I think that's probably not a wise decision right at the moment to do that. I'm not sure what's going to happen here in China over the New Year travel period, but I think people need to be extremely careful. I know the Chinese authorities in a number of provinces are urging people only to travel if it's absolutely necessary, and I think that's a wise idea. You know, Chinese New Year is the time when so many people are traveling around. It's the time where, you know, it could spark things off again, and obviously we don't want that. Okay, thank you for that super chat to Simon. Have a prosperous 2021, guys. You guys rock. Thank you very much for that, Simon. Really appreciate that. Okay, let's saw the interview with Wang Yi and Ozzy made him making. He wants to record him in a relationship. Not sure what that's about. Okay, yeah, Chinese New Year, I think it's on the 12th of February this year. It's a little late this year. It's normally sort of more January, but It is in February this year. Okay, Mohammed, Happy New Year, and thanks, Lee, for your daily coverage of the SARS-CoV-2 epidemic and pandemic during the first 2 months. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that. It's nice to see that people are still there from that time. I know there's many of you who followed us from those early days, and that's really, really great. Let's have a look. Thumbs up for Barrett. Thank you very much there, BBB2. In South China, Macau, Special Administrative Region, Hong Kong, Special Administrative Region, Hainan Province. Let's see, provinces and region. Barrett, where's the weekly podcast with Reportify and Guelo? Well, we actually stopped doing that simply because we got too busy doing other things and we couldn't make that commitment. It was a big commitment. We've been traveling around quite a lot this year, and we have quite a bit planned for next year. Just as a matter of interest, shortly into the new year, we're going to put a poll on our community tab because we really would like to know a little bit more about what sort of content you guys like. So, things, do you want us to cover food, factories, sort of opinion pieces, travel, or a bit of all of that? So we will be putting a poll on the community tab. So let's get a sort of idea of where people are tuning in from. So tell me where you're coming in from. Steve, everything. Yeah, I prefer to do a mix of stuff. I quite like doing some of the opinion pieces, but I also, one of my favorites is the factories, because my background's a little bit technical, and I really like doing those kind of sort of factory tech videos as well. They kind of get me excited. Oliver's not so keen on them because he doesn't have a techie background. I think Oliver likes to do sort of more lifestyle-y stuff, but I really like those tech videos. London and keeping your content mixed. London and keeping your content mixed is great. Yeah, thank you very much for that. As I say, I think it's good to try and have different content, because I think people like different things, and I think if you concentrate too much on one type of content, I think it becomes boring. It certainly does for us. So I think it's quite enjoyable that we do like those walk and talks, like we just did the walk and talk in the Forbidden City, and it's nice to sort of walk around those different places. And that I'd like to also see a little bit more rural China, and that's something we've been asked for quite a lot in the comments. Just as a sort of thing, though, it is a little bit more difficult to travel to those rural areas for us as foreigners in COVID time, because a lot of the hotels in those more rural areas are not really set up to take foreigners, and especially at COVID time. The big cities is okay because they're very used to foreigners, but some of the smaller villages and areas, it is a little bit of a problem. So it may be difficult to do that until we've sort of got COVID well out the way. I mean, it like if you look at the Western countries, as I said earlier, and many of the people who follow me will know. They've really got it under control here. The government, in tandem with the people, have done an amazing job. And we've seen how the health code works. So we recently went to Shanghai. We're in Pudong, and part of our health code turned red. And then when we wanted to travel again, we needed to get a coronavirus test at the local hospital to prove that we were okay before we traveled. And then recently we returned from Beijing, and part of our code went red again because we've been to Beijing and they'd had a couple of cases there. So this sort of system really works here to keep COVID under control when they have these small breakouts, which is absolutely fantastic. It's I only wish that some of the other countries could have followed the model in China, but I think even if the governments had tried to go down that route, because of certain people there, it's really difficult because they have this idea that, oh, I don't need to abide by the rules because it's taking my freedom away, and I think that's just crazy. Here people stuck to the rules, people did what they should, and we got COVID under control. And it seems to me now that the West are relying on the rollout of a vaccine to bring the pandemic under control, which is very, very sad. I'm sure America is in the situation is now because of all the mixing that happened at Thanksgiving, and I suspect and worry that exactly the same will happen in the UK after Christmas. Many people mixed at Christmas. They had this very complex system that they had different lockdowns in different areas, and what you found is people were traveling to the sort of lower lockdown, lower risk areas to the higher risk areas. Sorry, vice versa, from the higher risk areas to the lower risk areas to do their shopping, to go to pubs and restaurants, etc. It's just that there was no roadblocks set up or anything like that. So it's just a bit crazy. So let's have a look. Why doesn't the West look into the mirror and free Julian Sergeant Snowden? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk specifically about those cases, but there are a massive amount of double standards from Western countries. It's absolutely huge. I find it incredible. Okay, Kevin Law, how is your family back in the UK? Well, I worry about them quite a lot. My parents are quite elderly. My parents are in their 80s. Luckily, they live in an area which is not that populated, and I tell them every time that I speak to them that they need to be careful. I think pretty much they stay most of the time. But I am worried about them as they are elderly. I normally go back at least once or twice a year to visit them, but I haven't been able to this year. And then the other person I'm most worried about is my daughter. My daughter's in the UK. She's expecting her first baby in March of next year. And so she's not able to have the vaccine. She's not eligible yet for a vaccine, but she's not able to have the vaccine. Right now, it's suggested pregnant women don't have the vaccine. And her husband is a policeman. And, so he's dealing with the general public all day. So I do worry quite a lot because potentially he could get it and bring it back to the house. She's actually working from home now, my daughter, because she felt the work environment wasn't sort of safe enough. So she's working from home. But her husband, as I say, is a policeman. He has to deal with the general public. My eldest son, Tom, who's still in the UK, he actually house shares, and he actually had a coronavirus. One of the other people in the house attended an illegal rave and brought the virus back into the house. Although my son was very, very careful, he had caught it from somebody who went out the house to an illegal rave. Luckily and fortunately, he didn't get much effects from it. He lost his taste. He had a bit of a cold, but he recovered quite quickly, which is good news. Okay, so good morning. Okay, let's just go back up a few. How old are you, James M? I'm just the other side of 50. I'm not going to give you my exact age, but I'm just the other side of 50. And it's my birthday in January this year, so I'll be another year older in January. Okay, Happy New Year, everyone. Will Clark, let's have a look. Who else we got? What's your best video you think you are proud of in 2020? Best video, let me think. And that's coming from Simon N. Best video. Oh, that is a tricky one. I think the ones I enjoyed doing most of all was the ones at Sunwood. equipment manufacturer. I'm from an engineering background, and my father was also involved in engineering and proper heavy engineering. He was involved in. I was more electronics engineering, but I also did some mechanical engineering as well. And I just really enjoyed, going around the Sunwood factory, watching those excavators being built and sort of playing with that huge machinery. So I think that the one that most surprised me was the one I did, that Western media lies about China. And that was a video that there wasn't that much work put into. I'd been to McDonald's to have some breakfast on that particular morning, and I got these. I'd read a story a couple of weeks earlier about this new camera sensor that had been developed, and then I was reading in the news how the Western media put this massively different spin on the story. And so as I was walking back to my apartment from McDonald's on that morning, I decided to switch on the camera and record that video. And that kind of went a little bit crazy, and it did really well. And at that time, we were not subtitling our videos. So when we started subtitling our videos in Chinese, we decided to release that video again with Chinese subtitles on. And that's gone on to do over 1.7 million views to date. And I'm pretty proud of that, because, and that actually in the comments, if you look at the comments on that video, that generates a lot of polarized comments. There's people who really like that video and say thank you for sort of speaking out the truth. But there's a lot of the haters who also comment on that video, suggesting that, it was a video I've done on behalf of the Chinese government, which is just ridiculous. It seems as though, anything you say that's positive about China from being in China as a Western must be something you're doing for the Chinese government. And I just want to say on that note, we never coerced or anything by anybody. We do have sponsored trips by organizations that are funded by the government, but that's just the same as any other country. You'll have tourist boards in the UK who want to promote areas of the UK, and the same in the US, and ultimately they're funded by the government, taxpayers' money. But nobody ever bats an eyelid about that. But as soon as you do it in China, people think, oh, you're acting as a mouthpiece for the Chinese government. Well, I'm not. I will say what I want when I want. I could talk about negative things in China. Of course, there's negative things in China. There's negative things all over the world. But I'm not that kind of person. I'm a positive kind of person. It's interestingly when you are outside of your home country, how you see things quite differently. So that's just something I'll sort of mention. You are taken, and I think this is something Oliver said. Had he have been in the UK during coronavirus, his thinking would have probably been similar to his friends. But because he's been in China and seen it from the outside, he sees it very differently, and we see how it was dealt with here. And I mean, I know, you had those stories where there was, people were barricaded into their apartments and forced into vehicles. Yeah, and we all saw those videos on YouTube and other social media. But there's two things to remember here. One, they were very isolated incidents. And two, those videos were taken very much out of context. And it's the same if you look at what's just recently happened with the Jan, the citizen journalist thing, where she's been in prison for 4 years. And if you look at the way the media, in the West spun that story as if it was this sort of person who was just trying to show what was happening in Wuhan during coronavirus time, that she's been put in jail because, the authorities are. But if you actually look deeper into the story, it's very, very different. She was causing trouble. She was kicking over barriers at checkpoints. She was being disruptive to people who were trying to control the pandemic. But of course, that wasn't reported in the Western media because it doesn't fit their narrative. So, there's a lot of this kind of thing that goes on. And for me, it's just trying to sort of, put some of those things to right some of those wrongs that are reported in the Western press. Really, I mean, that's what we're here to do. I think it's very sad that a majority of these people that sort of report this, they've never even been to China. They sit behind their desks in London or New York or wherever they are in the world, and they write these reports, these articles with virtually no fact at all. In fact, a lot of this news is just parroted, throughout organizations. They get some dodgy report of somebody like Adrian Zenz or the ASPI of Australia, who are funded by NED, and they push this rubbish out, more and more. And sadly, a lot of the Westerners believe it because it's pushed to them from many different sources. So this is, my aim and Oliver's aim on this channel is to just try to put some balance to that. And it's not about being negative. It's just about sort of making videos of what we see, what we do, the reality of being here in China, and that's just what we're here for. Okay, so let me have a look at some more of these comments and see what we can answer. Okay, so let's have a look. What have we got? Try and answer some questions. I live in Europe at the moment. I often feel like I lived in a parallel world. The China stories I get from CNN, BBC, and New York Times are so distorted. Yeah, Zhao Wei Chen. Yeah, that is absolutely true. I mean, I'm shocked at the sort of stuff I read on the Western press too. It seems as though they have a block on reporting anything positive and only report negative stuff. And when I hadn't been following the Zhang sort of story, and when I saw the headlines in the Western media, they jailed this woman for 4 years for just reporting. I thought, oh, that seems a bit harsh. And then I did a little bit more digging and found actually, the things that she'd been doing were not just reporting on what was happening. She was trying to break rules. She continued filming in areas where she was not supposed to be filming after she'd been asked many times to stop, etc., etc. And actually, if you want to, I don't know whether any of you guys know Fernando from China Teacher Brand. I believe he's just changed the name of his channel actually to Furmu B, I think, or Furbimu or something like that. But he did a really good video talking about that on his channel. So go and check that out. So okay, let's have a look what else we've got. China has been described as an emerging economic powerhouse. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the sort of advances China are making, I just briefly speak here a little bit about 5G here. So we've been lucky enough to do some collaborations with Huawei over this past year, and that's allowed us to go to a number of sort of seminars and events that Huawei have done. And, while Western countries are still sort of arguing about who's going to provide their 5G infrastructure, China have been busy rolling out their 5G infrastructure, and they have now hundreds of thousands of 5G masts. And I'm lucky enough to live here in Shenzhen. And Shenzhen was the first city in China to have full 5G coverage. But as I said, going to some of these seminars and events that Huawei have hosted, it's shown us how that China are now past stage 1 of 5G, which is the infrastructure rollout. They're moving on now to implement it. And, I've got a couple of videos. In fact, one of them was at Sunwood, where I was actually controlling heavy machinery just recently. I was in Shanghai at an exhibition there, and I was controlling a vertical drilling machine that was actually in Guangzhou, thousands of kilometers away. And that was through 5G technology. So this is bringing massive advancements in Chinese engineering and manufacturing, because many factories now are gearing up to use this sort of 5G manufacturing process. And so it's making them not only more efficient but safer. So one of the implementations is in mining. Previously, mining would be a very dangerous job. People working far underground. There's danger from poisonous gas, etc., etc. And a lot of that machinery is now being 5G enabled, so the operators can sit in a nice air-conditioned, clean office on the surface, not have to go, hundreds of meters underground, and they're controlling that machinery from that air-conditioned office. And that brings a huge sort of safety thing. And it also makes it easier to recruit people to do these jobs because they're much more safer and cleaner, and everything that goes along with doing an office job as opposed to working hundreds of meters underground in a dirty, dangerous mine. So that's been really interesting. Let's have a look what else we've got here. So we have just had let me just see, we've got a super chat in from somebody. Let me just see who that was. Okay, Barrett, Happy New Year, Lee and Ollie. Thank you very much for that super chat. That's very, very appreciated. We will buy some more chocolates and wine with that, I'm sure. I'll just have a sip of my wine. Cheers, everybody. Okay, let's see if we can get to some more questions. Let's have a look. Any delay when you were playing with the 5G control machine? He says the remote control machine. I think he means the 5G machine. So Joe Nix, literally, because 5G is a high bandwidth and low latency, there's virtually no delay at all. It's almost like you're sitting at the controls of the machine. I think there is some very, very small delay, but it's literally hundredths of a second. It's not anything at all noticeable. And it's just amazing. That's the big step over 4G. A lot of people out there, sort of general users, think 5G is just really a sort of faster downloads to your phone and so much, but it is so much more. I mean, I've had a go with machinery on 2 occasions. The first time I was controlling an excavator, I was digging some big holes in the ground, and the second time it was a vertical drilling machine, and that was really impressive. And it's hard to believe that I was controlling that from thousands of kilometers away. And I think this is going to change the face of society in the future, because so many roles of jobs will change during that. And now you look at the sort of 5G manufacturing factories, and it's quite interesting because there's a lot of people who say, oh, it will put a lot of people out of a job. And that is true to a sense. However, it will also create more jobs, because there'll be more jobs for sort of the engineers to develop this stuff and implement this stuff and X, Y, Z. And over the next sort of 20 or 30 years, China will see quite a decrease in its population. And I think at some point, it's maybe 2050, actually India will overtake population-wise China. And at that time, I think there'll be a lot of shortage of people to do jobs here in China. So I think getting this 5G up and running and making more of the sort of mundane processes automated is a good thing. Okay, let's have a look what we've got going on here. So just have a look at these questions and comments and see if we can answer some more questions. Well, there's quite a lot going on here, so let me get to the okay, let's have a look. Ralph Castro, can you help me? I'm a steel supplier in the Philippines. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm sorry about that, but I don't really have any connections in the steel business to be able to help you out there. Wish everyone a wonderful 2021. Kelly, thank you for that. Let's have a look. Gustavo Andres, China have had a policy to alleviate poverty, and it is a marvelous achievement. Now, there is some, sort of conflicting not evidence, but conflicting information about this in the Western press that, there's a lot of people still in poverty. Now, I'll just tell you a story here. There's sometimes that Chinese governments will build housing complexes for these people who are in poor villages living in the countryside. But actually, sometimes the people, even though they may not have electricity in those premises, they don't want to move out because they've spent all of their life there. And it's sometimes difficult for them to accept moving into a new modern house. And I've seen many examples in China of sort of whole villages or towns that the government have built and provided housing for people who previously lived in poverty. As I said earlier in the stream, we would like to get out to sort of more rural areas to show you guys sort of around more rural areas. And I think we will try to do that in the future once COVID settled down. But, we've done a couple. We went to a fairly rural area this year called Meizhou, and that's in Guangdong province. And we were at some family friends, and they have, they may not be financially rich, but they live quite a rich life. They own land which they grow a lot of their food on. They keep chickens and ducks. And then other people in the village might have pigs and grow different vegetables. So they swap and they trade and they sell some of that produce at markets. And they have a pretty stress-free life, to be honest. It really depends how you measure rich. If you measure being rich by how much money you have or how much assets you have, then okay, those people are not rich. But if you measure richness by quality of life, from what I saw, they have a very good quality of life. Okay, they choose that they don't have the city life. City life is a lot more stressful, et cetera, because you're always trying to sort of one up the people who you live by. And I see that a lot in the cities. It's about make money, busy. Whereas these people who live in rural China, it's a very different life. And more and more people are now living in the cities, but it's wrong to say that those people living in the rural areas and the countryside are poor, because they're not always poor. They don't have financially a lot of money, but they have a very, very good life. And it's pretty amazing that over the last number of years, the Chinese authorities have done an amazing job at sort of lifting people out of absolute poverty, but that's not to say everybody in China is wealthy, like everybody's not wealthy in other countries. There's obviously many different levels of wealth throughout China, just like there are anywhere else. Okay, let's see what else we can Caliber Wings, happy Barrett, happy 2021. Let your hair down tonight. Don't get too drunk. No, I won't get drunk. I'm sure Ollie will be very, very drunk. He's off to a party with many of his friends, but that's a young guy's thing. He's only just gone 23. He's got to enjoy himself. That's not the kind of night I've had my time partying and getting drunk, and that's not for me anymore. So it's coming up to, what's the time now? It's coming up to 10 o'clock. So at 10 o'clock, we must wish everybody in Brisbane a good New Year. Oh, hang on, Ollie's just sending me a message on WeChat. Let's see what he wants. He just says check WeChat.
Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you all have a great 2021.
Okay, so I've got a message on my phone here from Ollie and his friends at the party. So let's just have a listen, yeah? Just let me know if you can hear everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you all have a great 2021.
So that was Ollie at the party with his mates. Yeah, so just so everybody in the stream knows, hold on, let me get the focus back. The camera's moved focus. So just to let everybody know in the stream, I'm running this stream till about 11:30 p.m. tonight, and then Matt over at the Gio Nation, you all know Matt, I'm sure, over at the Gio Nation. He's going to do a marathon stream, and he's going to start at 11:30 tonight. He's going to see in the Chinese, well, not the Chinese New Year, the Western New Year in China. He's going to see that in with you guys, and then he's going to carry on doing that stream for as long as he possibly can. He's hoping to go right the way through to sort of, when it comes New Year in the US, so he can welcome all his American subscribers to the New Year. But whether he stays awake is a different thing, because he was hoping to get a nap earlier today, but he didn't manage that, and so he's been up all day, but he's going to try and stay up all night as well. So that will be fun. I'll come over and join in the comments on that stream as well. If you haven't already, everybody give that thumbs up a smash, and I'd really appreciate that. So let's get some questions off you guys. Let's have a look. Let me see. Okay, a lot of Happy New Year's there to Ollie and his friends. Let's have a look. Let's get some questions. Yeah, Steve, there are no parties in the UK. I bet. I read today that pretty much 75% of the UK is now in a tier 4 lockdown, and I believe they're actually considering a tier 5 lockdown. I mean, I've got to think it's crazy the way they have all these different categories of lockdown in different areas of the country, yet they're not preventing people from traveling from one area to another. The police have said they're not going to put roadblocks up or anything, which to my mind is a bit crazy. It really is. So how long have you been in China? Okay, so I've lived permanently in China for just over 3 years. However, I've been coming to China for about 13 or 14 years. And for most of that time previous to the last 3 years, I was spending about half to 40% to 50% of my time in China, and the rest of the time back in the UK. And I'd be traveling backwards and forwards, before backwards and forwards 3 or 4 times a year. Okay, Caliber Wings, what did you have for dinner tonight, Lee? I cooked some ribeye steak tonight, and that was exactly because Noel from Caliber Wings, you sent me a message showing me some steak he'd had. So I popped out to Sam's Club and I bought some ribeye steak, and I had that with oven chips and sweet corn. So it was quite a Western meal I had tonight. And that's where when I went out to get my steak, I saw that they got these quality streets, so I bought myself a tin of those. And in fact, I might have one of those right now because I fancy a chocolate. So let me grab one of those. Let me grab some of that. Isn't too hard. So open one of these chocolates. This is a orange cream. Very nice indeed. Okay. Yeah, steak is definitely good now. Absolutely love steak. Hi to Peter Adam. Let's just see what we've got in here. So many comments coming in. Where is Ollie? Outside. Well, Ollie's at a party with his mates. He'll be well on the way to getting drunk, I would imagine, by now. But that's not for me. I'm a sort of a little bit older now, so prefer to stop him. Oh, Hazza. Okay, Hazza. Hi, mate. What is your long-term plan in China? Do you see yourself returning to the UK? And if so, how would you adapt to life back there? By the way, enjoying the stream. Happy New Year. Thank you, Hazza. Really appreciate that. Hazza is an Australian guy who lives here in China, and he's been working for a Chinese media company for many years. But he's recently started his YouTube channel. He was on a show with Cyrus about a week or two ago. I haven't spoken to him personally yet, but I intend to do so. But go and check out his channel if you haven't already. He's a really sound guy, and he gives a sort of dialect on the China-Australia situation, whereas Cyrus is very much China-US. I'm a sort of China-UK and China-US, but Hazza covers the sort of China-Australia sort of narrative. So yeah, go and check out his channel. But thank you very much, Hazza, for that super chat. That's very much appreciated. And who else have we got? Let's have a look. Happy New Year, everyone. Ronnie Chu. Jimmy, who? Nice to see you here, Hazza. Yeah, nice to see you here, Jimmy. Jimmy's a massive supporter of our channel as well. So great to see you here. He comments on nearly every one of our videos. I'm sure he watches all or most, if not all of them. It's nice to see you. Oh, Mr. Tony, Mr. Barrett, how long have you been handsome? Oh, so Mr. Tony, he is my friend. When I first moved to Guangzhou, we met in a subway, not the underground transport system, but a subway sandwich store, and we sort of struck up a friendship. He's a fellow Brit. Been in China for longer than me. I think he's been probably here for about 14 or 15 years now. And he's an English teacher here. He's taught kids for a long time. But we have some great memories. We've had some great times in Guangzhou, and we've got some good memories. He now lives in where does he live? He lives in Zhaoqing. He lives in Zhaoqing now, and we haven't seen each other for a couple of years. So at some point, I think we need to catch up, because we had some good times when we were up in Guangzhou. So it's Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Let's have a look. Happy New Year, Barrett. I hope the situation in the UK can get better as soon as possible. Yeah, I really hope the situation will get better too in the UK. I mean, I think they are really relying on rolling out the vaccine now, and I hope they can do that as soon as possible. And the reason I'm hoping that they get their act together a little bit more in the UK, so I would like to return there in March to see the birth of my first grandchild. As I said earlier, my daughter's pregnant. Just realized I didn't actually answer Hazza's question. So it was like, say, I do intend to stay in China long term, and we've sort of got a sort of, myself and Ollie, a bit of a career now as full-time content creators. And as of that, there are some opportunities presenting themselves here in China. There's a massive China still to see. We want to travel to lots and lots of different destinations around China and sort of do videos and reporting. It's not extremely easy at the moment due to coronavirus. Travel is a little bit more restricted than it would normally be, but it's not too bad. You just have to go through a few more checks and things than we normally would have to. But I do intend to travel around as much as possible. Also, we'd like to visit some other places. We'd like to go to South Korea. I'd also like to go to Japan and maybe even North Korea. But as I say, while coronavirus is here, that's not going to be possible. Okay, so a super chat off Caliber Wings. Thank you very much for that, Noel. The band of brothers and sisters, the foreign positive influences China keep getting stronger. Hazza, the Gio Nation, Mexicanos in China, Jerry Good and Barrett. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, we do try to do some collabs where possible. And we will be doing more collabs. Hopefully Jerry Good is coming down to Shenzhen early in the new year, and we'll tie up and do a collab with him. I'm hoping to go up to the new city near Beijing, Zhong'an, and I'm hoping Matt can join me on that trip. We have talked about doing something together there. So that may be something that we will be doing in the new year as well. Zhong'an, as some of you know, is the new city that's being built in or near Beijing to take the overflow from Beijing. They're going to move some of the administrative functions from Beijing to Zhong'an. Oh, I just see Mexicanos in China are in the chat. Hello, Max and Noelia. Okay, Leo Chung, the quality of 5G streaming is very good. Would you show us your clock phone with time display so that we can know the time delay? I'm actually streaming not on a 5G connection today. I'm streaming from my apartment. However, we do have a fiber connection to apartment, but normally I would stream from either my Huawei Mate 30 or my Xiaomi Mi 9, or is it 10? Mi 9. Both of those are 5G and they do good. Sometimes we get a little bit of an issue because we have to connect through a VPN. And sometimes if that VPN connection is not good, we do get an issue. But fingers crossed, we'll be okay for tonight. Okay, let's have a look for some more questions. Yeah, Louis Dew, the Mi 11 has just launched, and that is an amazing phone by the looks of the specs. It's got the Snapdragon 888 in. It's the first phone to have the Snapdragon 888, and it also has a 128 megapixel camera. So I'm sure that will give the new iPhone a run for its money. Okay. Where's Guelo 60 tonight? I have no idea. I don't think Guelo 60 tends to do live streaming, but I'm sure he will have a video up tomorrow. For the picture, I think iPhone is more convenient. The climate is the same in every country. Some places. You have a very nice collection of YouTubers in China. I hope everyone has a happy new year. Yeah, well, there are some good people. I've made some really good friends through the YouTube community. When we were in Xi'an, we met up with Max and Noelia from Mexicanos in China. We met up with Matt from the Giant Nation. We met up with Kirk from Guelo 60. And we met another guy who you guys won't know him, but he's a guy named Eric, and he's a French guy. He's been here for 35 years, and he's a photographer. And he takes some of the most amazing photos you've ever seen. And he doesn't appreciate how good his photos are. But he's been taking photos in China for 35 years, and I think that's pretty amazing. I've said at some point I'll help him try and get those photos uploaded to a site so he can monetize them, because I'm sure there's many media organizations that I'd love to purchase his photos for use in material, but he just doesn't know how to do it. So I'm going to do that. Right, let's have a look. Anybody got any questions? Let's have a look. Lee, your views on future of UK, please. UK leaving EU tonight, and EU will be singing trade treaty with China. Yeah, I think the UK thing is quite interesting. I initially was a supporter of Brexit, but I think I've somewhat sort of changed my view a little bit, because I think that they haven't left. Although they've signed an agreement and will leave, I think we're still very much tied to the EU and a lot of their rules and things. And I find it incredible how, just a few years ago, the UK was very active in trying to pursue trade with China under David Cameron, and can't remember the chancellor at the time's name, and then all of a sudden they've gone very, very anti-China. I feel some of the decisions in the UK have been forced by pressure from the US. I'm pretty sure the Huawei decision was pressured by the US, because it seems very strange that Huawei have been in the UK telecoms network for 15 plus years, and they've never been a security issue. And in fact, Huawei and the UK government agencies set up a lab there to test all Huawei equipment for security, for how secure it was before it went into the UK networks. And I just feel in all that time there was never a security issue. Then all of a sudden 5G comes along, it's a massive security issue. And I think it's more down to the fact that because the UK are leaving the EU, they were very, very desperate to get a trade deal with the US. Because right now the UK do about 3 times more trade with the US than they do with China. So I think there was a lot of pressure from the US to get them to drop Huawei so they could have a trade deal. But I think that is very short-sighted, because I think in the future there'll be much more trade to be done with East Asia, and especially China. And I think to an extent the UK government have shot themselves in the foot to an extent, which I don't think is a very smart thing, to be honest. Okay, let's have a look what else we have. Let me see. We have... Okay, so Crimsonic. Hi, Barrett. Do you speak Chinese? Embarrassingly, I don't speak much Chinese. I haven't really got much of an excuse. My excuse is that I've been a little bit lazy. My partner here speaks very good English, and so we tend to use English to communicate. And so I've been lazy, but I have sort of put some thought to this the last couple of months. I recently went on a trip to Beijing, and on that trip to Beijing, there was a number of other foreigners there. There was a guy from Switzerland, there was a girl from Italy, there was a guy from South Africa, there was a guy from Egypt, and they all spoke very, very good Chinese. And I was kind of slightly embarrassed that I couldn't. So I think it's time. I think one of my New Year's resolutions is that I need to put some more effort into speaking Chinese. My son Ollie, he's really doing well with his Chinese. He's pretty much taught himself, but he's put quite a lot of time into it. He spends at least an hour or two most days learning Chinese, and he's got his tones very, very good. One of the other things, I'm actually tone deaf, so I find it really difficult to distinguish between the Chinese tones. I'm tone deaf from a musical point of view, so it might be okay. So how's that? Okay, thank you. Appreciate you coming into the stream, Hazo. See you all next. Thanks for the entertainment tonight. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. It's much appreciated. Okay, so let's get to some more questions. Okay. XR, hello, Barrett and Ollie. I hope 2021 will bring happiness, health, and prosperity to you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Happy New Year, Barrett. What do you think of the completion of the negotiation of China-EU investment agreement? What impact does this have on international politics? Not sure. I think it's great that they've signed a deal, and I think to some extent it's, all the pressure America have put on the EU, and yet they've still signed a deal. And I think that's because ultimately they know that there will be a lot of trade to be done with China. China have signed 2 massive trade deals this year. There's the RCEP with many other Asian countries, and now there's this European investment deal. And I think America have gone around trying to push sort of many other countries to join them in boycotting China. But I think realistically, these countries know that would be a very, very stupid move. China lifted the world out of a recession after the 2008 financial collapse. And I think it will be China again who leads the world out of sort of economic depression after COVID. I just have a sip of my wine as my throat's getting a little bit dry. Okay, let's see what other questions we can answer. Let's have a look. Yeah, Steve, China will be the biggest economy in the world by 2017. Yeah, I've actually sort of that's been done by one of the economic think tanks that have actually said that. And I think the way a number of Western countries have poorly handled the coronavirus, their economies are going to take a massive hit over the next few years. And we already see that as China have controlled it. They're sort of steaming ahead. Their economy is growing, and I think they will be the only growing economy this year. And they will grow more than pretty much all other economies next year. Some of these were. So I think Australia and New Zealand have done well at controlling the coronavirus, but there's a lot of countries that haven't really done that well, and I think they're going to suffer very much economically. And I think it will be up to China to bring the world economy out of recession, basically. Okay, so what else do we have? Lots and lots of comments coming in. Okay, so Louis Jew, what do you do in Shenzhen? Employed yourself? Only take vlogs? Yeah, so up until coronavirus time, I was doing a small amount of trade back to the UK. I took kind of a year out. I'd had a export business which I kind of stopped doing really, and I was just exporting a little bit. And I think I said earlier, coronavirus was a bit of a turning point where we concentrated on making lots of videos. We put out a video every day, and that then grew our subscriber base quite significantly, and that allowed us then, after sort of coronavirus was brought under control, to go into this full time. I'm quite fortunate that my partner works, so we have her salary as well, and I'd used a bit of my savings. But we're getting to the point now where we're getting some sponsorships for the channel, and with all the donations we get off the people who support the channel. So, we have Patreon, we have Buy Me a Coffee, we get donations in on WeChat, and of course we get sort of super chats in. It allows us to do this sort of full time and continue to bring content to you. It's quite interesting because I was having a conversation today with Matt from the Gio Nation, and we're talking about, sometimes we get comments saying that, why should we donate to make to help you make content? Well, you think of every other organization in the world pretty much that makes content. Those people are paid. So if you work for a company to make documentaries, you'll be paid. If you work for a news organization, you'll be paid. People will go and pay to watch movies, and those movie stars are actors, and they're paid millions and millions of dollars. we as content creators who are doing this full time, we have to live. We have rent to pay, we have food to buy. So I'm quite open that we do this to make a living. We are not on fantastic amounts, so that's why we do rely on sponsorships, on the revenue from the adverts on the channels, on donations from subscribers, Patreons, people who buy us a coffee, all that kind of thing. Altogether, we make enough to be able to live on. By no means do we have a luxurious lifestyle, and this is why sometimes we have some trips which are sponsored. So we sometimes get our accommodation and travel assistance with that, but most of the things we don't get paid for. We are lucky enough now to have a channel that's got to a point where we can get some paid sponsorships, but right at this stage we're not doing a huge amount of those, but it all helps. So we really appreciate all you people who do support us on the channel, and thank you very much. Okay, what else do we have? Let's have a look. Do you need to take out medical insurance to live in China? You should have medical insurance. I don't have medical insurance at the moment, which is a little bit concerning. However, I do have sort of probably sufficient savings to be able to deal with any medical issue. Here in China, medical attention is not extremely expensive unless it's something very, very major. So I've been to the doctor and the hospital a few times, and it's a few £100 at most. A visit to the doctor here is like £5 or £10. So unless you have something that is major, then it's not a massive issue. Obviously, if it's something major, then obviously it might be very, very costly. I do suffer with asthma and I have medication, but as a matter of fact, I can buy that asthma medication here over the counter cheaper than the cost of a prescription in the UK. So if you look at my salbutamol inhaler for my asthma, I think the prescription cost now in the UK is about £9 per item. I think I can buy that inhaler here for like £3 to £4, because a lot of people here in China are not seriously wealthy. Healthcare is quite accessible. I mean, to give you an idea, and I will make a video about this because I'll record it there. I went for a full health check maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and it was at a private sort of hospital. I had CT scans, I had ultrasound scans, I had blood check tests. They tested for like 15 or 20 different things in my blood. I had a urine sample, as I say, CTs, ultrasounds, scans, and it was little over £100. I think it was about 1,100 RMB. It was about £130, and that is pretty amazing. I mean, I think if you go to the US, a CT scanner probably alone would cost you more than that. Okay, let's have a look what else we can answer. No way, they are the largest. Let's have a look. Okay, there's a lot of Chinese comments. Unfortunately, I can't read the Chinese comments because I'm not able to read Chinese, but I will answer as many of the English comments as I possibly can. Do you think the most Westerners have bias towards Chinese or afraid of China? Leo Chung, thank you. And Leo Chung's a member on our channel, so we really appreciate that as well, Leo. Do you think that most Westerners have bias towards China or are afraid of China? I think that Westerners do have some negative bias towards China. I think that's because that they're constantly bombarded with negativeness from both their media and their politicians, and they tend to believe what they read. I think a majority of people now, it's like they they don't do any fact checking, and whereas mainstream media many years ago were pretty honest in their reporting, I think it's moved to a point where there's so much dishonest reporting now about China. Unless they dig a little bit deeper, they will never know the truth. I mean, I find it amazing that people like Adrian Zenz can produce these so-called reports about these so-called reports about what's happening in Xinjiang, and it's all speculation. You just look at the wording in the stuff he writes, and it's all sort of conspiracy and this may happen and this may be and that may be. Nothing's concrete because, of course, there is no evidence. But I think it's pushed at the people so much that they believe it, which is a shame. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do here is kind of push back against that. Showing people we're actually here in China, and we can show people what's going on. It is one of our plans that as soon as we can is to travel to Xinjiang, one of the regions that's gets a lot of negative media. And just show people what it's like there, Okay, let's have a look furthermore. So we have a super chat. Arthur Larson. Hello, Arthur. Arthur's another massive, supporter of our channel. He watches pretty much all of our videos, and he supports us wherever he can. He's one of our Patreons, so really appreciate that, Arthur. And micro executive producer. Thank you very much, Arthur. Appreciate that. Cheers. So thank you to Arthur for that. Let's have a look. Happy New Year, Barrett from Bim Bim Wang. Thank you very much. And so you mean we should discuss in English? Now, if you want to discuss in the comments in Chinese, that's absolutely fine. But it's just I don't read Chinese, so I'm unable to answer any comments that come in Chinese. So if you want me to sort of have a look at them, you'll have to put them in English, I'm afraid, because many of you Chinese people have way better English than my Chinese. So I do apologize for that. Okay, Happy New Year and all the best for you. And I thank you very much, Looming R. My camera's not focusing. Yeah, the focus is wandering a little bit. Hopefully most of the time it's clear. I do apologize for that. Let's have a look what else we have. There is way too many Chinese comments, but do not worry, Lee. They are keeping themselves entertained, communicating amongst themselves. That's good. It's always good to have some discussion going on in the comments, I think. Happy New Year, Barrett. All the chat, ZHD. Thank you, John SS. He's here still. Mr. Magoo, it is amazing how Adrian Zheng has only visited China for a month, yet he seems to be held as an expert by all Western media, which is pretty amazing, really. I find it incredible how they can sort of take everything that he writes as fact when he really has no idea. And, many of his reports are completely debunked. I mean, Daniel Dumbrell does a great job of debunking Adrian Zenz. You probably all know Daniel's channel, I'm sure, but if you don't, it's Daniel Dumbrell. He's another YouTuber here in China, a British Canadian, and he does some great stuff in debunking Adrian Zenz, both on YouTube and on Twitter. And but I just find it amazing how the Western media get Adrian's reports and just push them as if they're absolute fact when they're just a complete pack of lies, really. Okay, so let's have a look. Fat Kai, do you know about the Linden Center in Dali? I don't, unfortunately. But thank you very much for your super chat. It's much appreciated. I know nothing about the Linden Center in Dali. You'll have to enlighten me on that one at some point because I don't know about that. New Moves did some good videos in Xinjiang. Yes, he did. Thank you for that, Jimmy. Yeah, New Moves is another channel. He's a Chinese Canadian, I believe, and he traveled to Xinjiang actually during the coronavirus time, and he produced some good material. I actually like some of his material. He researches and thinks it out well. So go and have a check on his channel as well if you haven't already. New Moves. Okay, let's have a look. I've been to China more than him. My holidays, Arthur Larson. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You know, Adrian Zed's an expert, but he's only ever been to China once for 4 weeks. How ridiculous is that? You know, it's just crazy. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think the reason why Adrian Zenz does receive such praise from certain Western governments because it fits the narrative they want to push. You know, it's that, all that manufacturing sort of consent in the public to be super negative on China because the public believe China's the big baddie, when actually, you know, 99.9% of that population in the West do think China's a big baddie. Either one, don't look at the facts, or two, have actually never been to China to see for themselves, you know. Please check out the Linden Center and do a video. Okay, I will check out the Linden Center. I'm going to make a note of that now. Linden Center, Dali. I've not heard of it, but I will check it out and see if we can do a video. No homo. I would love to visit China once this pandemic is over. Well, you definitely should if you've not been here before. I think it was interesting in one of our videos not so long back. There was a comment saying that, you know, a guy was very, very sort of negative thinking on China. Then a year or so ago, 2 years ago maybe, he came to China for a holiday for 3 weeks. And he left China with a completely different view of China. And I actually think that will be the case with a lot of people. You know, and as I've said before, many of these people who sort of are negative on China, they've never been here. They assume that, you know, China's this big bad place, but actually if they had the opportunity to come here, I think their minds would be very, very changed, as are the minds of a lot of people who do actually visit China. I mean, I've been coming here for 15 years, 13, 14 years now, and it's an amazing place. You know, and the speed they can do things and the speed they can get things done, it just blows my mind, really. Okay, let's have a look at some more of these comments. There's lots coming in. Let's see. Okay, yeah, but you didn't go there yet. So do you plan trip to Xinjiang maybe sometime? We do definitely plan to travel to Xinjiang. There's a couple of things that we have an issue with. One is that coronavirus. It's much more difficult to travel during coronavirus, especially if you're a foreigner, because we don't have Chinese ID cards. So it's more difficult for the authorities to track us. And sometimes we go to certain areas and our health codes won't work because they're not set up to be able to register foreigners. So it has to be a manual process. And the second thing I'm kind of wary of is that I think foreigners going to Xinjiang with a load of camera equipment will sort of start to ring some alarm bells, and we might be a bit restricted in what we can film. And the reason I say that is if you it's very understandable that so many Westerners record stuff and be negative on China. So a lot of the authorities, certainly in the outside of the major cities, are kind of a little bit wary about foreigners with cameras because they naturally assume they're wanting to record something that might be negative. So we would really like to try and arrange something with a sort of organization, a Chinese organization like CRI, like CGTN, like CCTV. So, to be able to go with them, and then we won't be so restricted, or we won't be so concerned about being there as foreigners with our cameras on our own. So that's one of the reasons. But we really, really do intend to go there, and we want to get there as soon as possible. Matt from the Giant Nation has just done some great filming with CCTV. I don't think any of those videos have come out on his channel yet, but I know he is working on getting them ready. I think he's just finishing off all his Xi'an videos, and then he will produce his. He went to 4 or 5 different cities on his tour, actually, according to the name of the audience. Okay, let me just. But I hope you can do more video interviews about the ordinary people of China, showing the true daily lives to the world. So, TOSIP development. I hope you can do more videos about the ordinary people of China, showing the true daily lives in China to the world. We do intend to do that, and that's one of the reasons why Ollie is learning Chinese. He's improving a lot because he wants to be able to have conversations with locals, and once his level is good enough, we'll definitely be doing that. As I said earlier, we are wanting to continue with a mix of kind of different content on our platform. I really like doing the factories and techie things like the Huawei stuff and the factories. Oliver likes more kind of doing the travel and food, and he wants to interview more people. But that is something we definitely would like to do. We would really like to get out into more rural China. I think I mentioned previously that's not so easy right at the moment because of coronavirus. It's a little bit more too difficult to travel as foreigners in rural areas because simply they don't have the systems in place to be able to easily deal with foreigners. A lot of places are set up for Chinese with Chinese ID cards, and when foreigners come along with passports, it's a little bit more difficult because those rural areas rarely see foreigners, so there is a little bit of an issue there, but we overcome it where we can. Okay, so what else have we got? Let's see. What is it? Kurt Chu, an Australian, says he was in Xinjiang in 2018 and there are no drones allowed. Yeah, I think worldwide and as well in China, drone flying is getting more difficult. It is getting more difficult. We do try to get drone stuff wherever we can, but of course around military installations, it's going to be a no-no. And since COVID's been here, checking into hotels has been slightly more difficult, especially for foreigners, because as I said before, we don't have a Chinese ID card. However, we're in Yantai recently, and we had a Chinese friend join us, and he'd previously been to Chengdu, and Chengdu on his health code was shown in red, and they wouldn't actually let him check into the hotel. He had to spend the night at the local hospital. He got there in the evening, they tested for coronavirus, and they then released him the following lunchtime when his result was negative, and he was only then allowed to check into the hotel. So, they are on top of it, and having these extra restrictions, it is sometimes a pain in the ass, but this is what allows us to be kind of almost back to normal life here in China, whereas many countries are still in lockdown. I mean, I really feel for a lot of people who are abroad in lockdown. It must be horrible. we are very, very fortunate here in China that everybody followed the rules. Everybody continues to follow the rules. As soon as there's any sign of an outbreak, the government jump on it and they test lots of people very quickly. The track and trace app is very good here. Again, I've read that's been another massive failure in the UK. They paid a private company, I don't know, hundreds of millions, if not billions of pounds, and the system was pretty much a complete failure, only tracking and tracing about 50% of the people, which is pointless. If you can't track pretty much everybody, you may as well not have the track and trace system in the first place, in my eyes. Okay, more questions. Let's have a look. What can Western learn from China? Lenplex Lin. What can the Western learn from China? I don't know whether it's so much whether they can learn things from China. I certainly think they could learn in the pandemic control from China. I mean, China have done an extremely amazing job at controlling that. I think it's not so much learning. I think what they have to understand is that China has a system that is obviously working very well, a governmental system that is obviously working very well for China. And I think the Western world have to realize that, to stop trying to force their democratic system onto China because they perceive it's a better system. The system has worked very well for China. You can see in the last 30 plus years, the sort of advancements that have been made here. They now have better infrastructure than many Western countries. Their systems in many respects are better than Western countries. It's a socialist system with Chinese characteristics, and I think that the West need to sort of let China get on and be China and try not to interfere. It's working for China. It's not perfect here, but it's working, and a majority of the people here are happy with that. In fact, our last video that we put up yesterday, we discussed this exact subject. We discussed that while we were walking around the amazing site of the Forbidden City in Beijing. So check out that video if you haven't seen it, because that answers a lot of these kind of questions. Okay, let's see what else we got. Chinese civilization, 5,000 years of learning. Let's have a look. So Arthur Larson is saying, only got an official track and trace app in California last week and barely anyone has adopted it. Yeah, I mean, my son works in a restaurant in the UK, and he says that, most people coming in, they were not even bothering to scan themselves in. They were putting a mask on right outside the door before they come in and things like that. So, I think this is the big difference. Cheers, everyone. This was the big difference in China, that when they did have a lockdown and when they, people had to scan their code to get into places, everybody did. People did it. They abided by the rules and they got on and did what they should do. And that's something that really hasn't happened in the West. Oliver talked to his friends there, and the way they talk, it's as if there's no coronavirus at all. They go about their lives. Most of them don't wear masks. They still attend parties. I've seen tweets that he sent where it says, "Oh, F coronavirus, there's a party at my house tonight." And this is just craziness that people behave like this. It really is. So for anyone who's just joining the stream right now, we are continuing this stream till 11:30 p.m. and it's now what time? It's now just gone 10:30, and so that means in Darwin and Alice Springs in Australia, they've just welcomed in the new year. So happy new year to anybody who's tuning in from Alice Springs or Darwin. and most of the rest of Australia now has already welcomed in 2021. And as I say, I'll be going till 11:30, and then Matt over at Gio Nation is firing up his stream, and he's going to take you through the night, and I think he's going to be out and about, so that'll be really interesting. So if you want to, when you've finished here, hop over to Matt at the Gio Nation and get into his stream, and I'll be there in the comments as well supporting him, so that's cool. So let's get some more questions. Right, let's have a look. Who have we got here? Let's see. We have let's have a look. Hello, Barrett. First time here. Dying to get back into China from the USA. Haven't seen my wife or in-laws in over a year. Oh, Bozy boss, I'm so sorry for that. It's there has a lot of people that left China and got caught where they couldn't come back. And this is the dilemma I've had. I would have gone back to the UK for 3 or 4 weeks in October this year, but the problem I have, if I leave China, it's very difficult to come back. I've got my parents in the UK, I've got my elder son and my daughter and her husband. She's expecting her first baby in March of next year, so it's really a dilemma to know what to do. It's terrible if you've been away from your family for over a year, stuck in the US. I hope you're keeping safe. Okay, so what else do we have? Let's have a look. A lot of comments still coming in. Got to buy a pack of cigarettes. I will be back, Joe Nix. No problem. Hi, Lee and Ollie. Happy New Year. Swan Guildford. Thank you very much. Happy New Year from New Zealand, Crawford, MJ Miller. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Great Leap Forward was a harebrained idea. Wow, we're not going to talk about that today. Long live the great unity of the people of the world. Yeah, I think I think the world would really be a better place if people go, we don't need all this fighting and trade wars and stuff like that. I think if people work together, it benefits everybody. It's just absolutely mad. Well, I'm just gonna have a quick break and treat myself to a chocolate. Like I said earlier, I treated myself to a tin of Quality Street chocolates earlier today, which I saw when I went shopping. One of my favorite chocolates from the UK, and it's the first time I've seen them on sale here in China. That's nice. It's a strawberry cream, that one is. Okay. Any more questions coming in? Let's have a look. So, Bozai Boss, thank you. I'm safe, always stayed safe. I did like the Chinese did, and I masked up early on. That's great. I think if more people, I think part of the problem in the UK, I think there were so many confusing messages that came from government, and even to a point, there was a lot of reports where the politicians were ignoring the scientists who were telling them one thing, but politically they didn't think it was able to do. So I think the people actually got fed up of all the mixed messages, and they sort of stopped taking any notes. I mean, you only had to see what happened where people were traveling from higher risk areas to low risk areas to do their shopping and hang out in pubs and that, and it just shows you that people have just completely lost confidence in what the government is telling them. So even from mask wearing, early on the government was saying there was no need to wear a mask, and that was obviously, even in my mind, if a mask makes a difference of 1%, then it's worth wearing. I'm sure it makes much more of a difference than 1%, but even if it was only 1%, it'd definitely still be worth wearing. So let's have a look. What else do we have going on here? Swiss chocolate is the best. Yeah, I do like Swiss chocolate. This is kind of sort of this is not Swiss chocolate, but it's still very nice. I don't often get the chance to eat chocolate here in China because it's kind of expensive compared to the West. But I saw these Quality Street today, and I decided to treat myself to a tin of them. Okay. Arthur Larson, do I have a car? Here in Shenzhen, I don't have a car. My partner has a car, but we rarely use it. Now, we use it occasionally if we are traveling a little bit out of Shenzhen. But in Shenzhen, sometimes, if you want to go on maybe a 20-minute journey, you'll spend 20 minutes driving there, and then anywhere between half an hour and an hour trying to park. So we often take a DD or a taxi. I mean, DD is the sort of equivalent of Uber here in China. So a lot of people will use DD. You call it on the app, it's there within a couple of minutes, and you don't have to worry about parking. So it's more convenient. You normally get dropped right outside the door of where you want to go, and you don't have to worry about parking. So that's why we don't use the car as much. Personally, I can't drive here in China because I haven't applied for my Chinese driving license. But it's not difficult once you get all the paperwork in order to get your full license. I can actually get a provisional license without doing any tests at all, as long as I have the correct paperwork. But to get a non-provisional full license here, I need to take the written test. I have a UK driving license, so I don't have to do the practical test. I have to take the written test, which is available in English. I have to have an eye test, pay a small fee, and then I can get my Chinese driving license. Just on driving, I'm kind of a little bit nervous about driving actually here in China. Not through the fact that I can't drive, but the driving style here is somewhat different to the UK. And I think drivers here are probably much more aware because there's so much going on around you here. There's like e-bikes coming from different places, and the driving style is so different. For example, in England, if you're approaching a main road from a side road, you will wait till that main road is clear before you pull out. Well, not in China. You'll pull out of that side road onto a main road, and the people on the main road will slow down to let you in. So kind of getting used to that driving style would be there'd be a little sort of time factor in adapting to the driving style. I will do. I'm not sort of scared to do it, but just a little bit nervous. But I will do it at some point. But as I say, we don't really drive that often anyway. Occasionally we might drive out to the beach or to a different province, but or a different city. But most of the time we, for local stuff, I'll either go on the metro or take a DD or a taxi. Okay, let's have a look, see if we can find some more questions or chats. See what we can find. Tianing Chin, I am coming to practice my English listening. Oh, that's good. At least we're doing somebody a service. I know that many people do use our videos to practice their English listening. So good. We have been asked many times to put subtitles on our videos in both English and Chinese, but the extra work that involves, it just takes too much time. We spend quite a lot of money having Chinese subtitles put on. You'll be surprised. We spend thousands and thousands of RMB per month to have our videos subtitled in Chinese for you guys, and to have them subtitled in English as well just increases that workload. So let me just talk a little bit about what we are going to be doing in 2021. So the first major thing that is going to happen on the channel is we're going to be uploading slightly fewer videos. We have found it really difficult to keep up with a schedule of one video every other day, and that has just like really been difficult. It's quite amazing that when we put a video live, a lot of people think that is something we recorded either the previous day or on the morning that we've put it live in the afternoon, because people will say, oh, you're still in Beijing, or you're still in Chongqing, maybe we can meet up. And sometimes it may be weeks and weeks after we've actually shot the video that it goes live on YouTube, because there's an whole process, we have to I'll just give you a brief sort of idea. So we shoot the footage. Generally, Oliver then edits the footage. Then we send that edited footage off for subtitling. That comes back. I then add the subtitles. I then make two versions of that video, one for the Chinese platforms, Bilibili, Toutiao, Douyin. And then I make another version for YouTube, because some of the things on the YouTube version can't go on the Chinese platforms. Like we can't, advertise Patreon and things on the Chinese platforms. So it does take a long time, and we've been really struggling to get a video up every other day. So we are moving to one video every third day. So every 3 days in the new year, we will release a video. That will free us up a little bit more time to do some other things. So right now, we've kind of neglected a little bit our Patreons and our members on the channel. We want to do a little bit more special stuff for you guys. So you will get extra content in the new year if you're a Patreon or a member on the channel. So that's something we're going to focus a little bit more on. And we also might be doing a few more live streams. We used to do a lot more live streams. We enjoy the live streams because it allows us to interact with you guys. However, we were not able to do live streams and keep up with a workload. So that is something that will be a change. I did ask earlier about the sort of content we're doing. We will put a poll on the community tab shortly, early in the new year, to sort of get an idea of what kind of content people want. Currently we do sort of factories and tech stuff, we do travel and food, and we do the opinion stuff. We'd like to kind of keep a mix of that. I think it's a bit more interesting if we have a mix of different things on the channel, because we appeal to different people. So that's something we are doing. We are going to continue to travel around. We will still be involved with being invited to some of the Huawei stuff, which I really enjoy, because I like to keep up on the tech. I mean, that's just opened my eyes. I'm a techie anyway, but going to some of the Huawei conferences and events has just really opened my eyes to sort of the cool things that are going on here in China from a point of view of 5G and what have you. Okay, so just to say, thank you to Sam Guan. Happy New Year from Toronto, Canada. Thank you very much for that super chat. That's really appreciated. It's down to people like you guys, people who are members, patrons, who support us on WeChat, etc., that we're able to, continue doing the channel. As I said earlier, we are getting a little bit of sponsor stuff now, but we do rely on donations and support from you guys to live, basically. Okay, Tian Wang, are you an engineer by training? Yes, I trained. I got a higher national diploma in electronic engineering, but electronic engineering has always been a thing that I've been interested in. I actually miss doing the sort of practical stuff, and in the future I may start doing a few kind of projects that I might make videos of and put on the channel, and maybe if I get time or get sort of organized, I'll do that. Another massive thing I like is Lego. And I know that hasn't been of my walk and talks as Lego sit and build and talks. Give you a sort of peek into my Lego world, because I really do like Lego, and I think that's because I come from a sort of practical engineering kind of background. You know, since I've been 5 or 6 years old, I've been interested in various types of engineering. I was always making things, or if anybody had got an old washing machine or television, I'd take it apart and mess with it and play with it and so forth. So yeah, I've always loved to dabble with electronics and mechanical things. So yeah, I think that's where I get it from. And I was lucky enough that my parents always let me do that. You know, they never prevented me from messing with things. Not new things obviously, but old things. I'd take them apart and try and build other things with them, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I love my engineering. Hi Lee, can you do night walk video to show up how safe China is? Maybe a walk at 2 a.m. in the big city. I kept hearing China is safe. Can you show that as proof? Yeah, actually that's something we've been talking about, me and Oliver. Oliver was thinking of doing a video where he walks overnight from one part of Shenzhen to another, and he does that through the night. So yeah, we do intend to do some of that. I'll make a note of that right now so we don't forget. And China is a very, very safe country. I mean, when I first came here 13 or 14 years ago, I witnessed sort of petty crime in the cities, pickpocketing, phones being stolen, people would ride on the metro or the bus and they would cut your backpack and maybe take things out. And I don't remember when it happened, but it's certainly all gone. There's virtually no crime now in the cities because they have the cameras everywhere. There's a lot of cameras that can take footage, and if an incident occurs, that footage can be looked at. I'm amazed. Many times I'll be working in Starbucks, Oliver too, and you might need to go to the toilet. Now, just to give you a bit of history, most of the stores here don't have toilets. The toilets will be in the shopping centres, which the shops are attached to. So sometimes I'll just leave my laptop, my tablet, my bag in the Starbucks, go to the toilet, you come back, it hasn't been touched, and that's just amazing. When I first came to China, I remember going in McDonald's in Guangzhou and there'd be signs on the table saying, be careful of your belongings. And there's still many countries like that where, you leave your bag on the back of a chair, it'll be snatched, X, Y, Z. But it's so safe. I mean, there's not many cities where you can see young girls, 15, 16 years old, walking around at 10 o'clock at night with their friends or on their own, and without any worry of any issue occurring. It is a very, very safe place. Okay, what else do we have? Happy New Year to everyone watching and commenting. That's from Hang Katsuri. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, guys. Stephen Francis, Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I think Gladys G, I think we will do something about Chinese New Year. I want to try and capture in a video what it's like traditionally at Chinese New Year. So I may go back to a rural home town or rural sort of area this Chinese New Year, and we'll get the fireworks and the meal and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm hoping to do a video about Chinese New Year. Okay, what else? Let's have a look. That one. Let's have a look. Can you guys visit? Benjamin Franklin, can you guys visit the Neo e-car factory? We will try. We have done a video at the Chang'an factory. That's Chang'an, not Chang'an, Chang'an. And we have recently shot a video at the Geely factory to show you their Lincoln Co. Model 03 Plus being built. That video is not out yet, but it will be out in the next couple of weeks. And we haven't yet been to a EV factory, and that is on our list to do now. Whether it would be Neo, it may be. So there's three sort of big brands here. There's BYD, there's XPeng, and there's Neo. And we would like to try and get to one of those factories to do a video, because that would be really pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool to do the Tesla factory as well up in Shanghai, but we'll have to see. We will do our best to get into one of those factories for you and do a video. Okay, let's have a look what else we have. Okay, this is my Chinese guys. Lee, sing the Happy New Year song. I can't even remember how it goes. For old acquaintance be forgotten, never was for the sake of old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, up and fill it up for the sake of old lang syne. I think that's the one you mean, is it, Jerry? I'm not a good singer at all. I'm absolutely useless. As I'm told by all my family, I'm just useless at singing. I go to KTV and it's a complete disaster. Anyway, moving on. Happy New Year. I'm a new subscriber of your channel. Love your content. Do you make New Year resolutions? If yes, what are they for 2021? Laura T. Okay, so for 2021, my New Year's resolution is to be more productive with my time and to spend some time learning Chinese. I really find learning Chinese quite difficult. As I said earlier, Oliver's making really good progress, but I'm just a bit lazy with it. But I need to be more productive with my time. So that's one of my Chinese New Year resolutions. Okay, let's believe it. Okay. Oh yeah, I've also got a video that will be coming along. That's sort of my Christmas day. I cooked a traditional British English roast dinner on Christmas Day. It wasn't turkey, because I'm not a big fan of turkey, but I cooked a lamb roast dinner. And I also made something called eggnog, which eggnog's not so popular in the UK, but it's really popular in the US. But every year Starbucks in the UK have something called eggnog latte, and I really, really like it. So I made some eggnog and I did a roast dinner, but I recorded that process. So I'll put that together in a video so you can see what I did, making my roast dinner and making my eggnog on Christmas Day. I made myself an eggnog latte and cooked a roast lamb dinner, which we invited a couple of friends round to eat with us, and that was lovely. Okay, so we have a super chat. Oh, Rob GTI 180, nice to see you, man. It's Rob GTI is another supporter of our channel. I think he watches most, if not all, of our videos. It's nice to see him here again. Happy New Year to the Barretts and everyone. Let's hope the world will be back to normal in 2021. Peace. Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, it's been a very rough year. 2020 as for many people. Many people have been affected. Many people have lost friends and family due to COVID-19. And let's hope that we can get these vaccines rolled out and get, a majority of the population vaccinated as soon as possible, so things can start going back to normal. People can start going around their lives a bit more normally, because I think we're all pretty much fed up of the restrictions that are happening. I mean, we are very, very lucky here in China that it's under control more so than most other places in the world. But it's still sometimes a pain in the ass that, I can't travel out of China easily. I can travel out, but it's difficult to come back in. And even here in China, although things are pretty much back to normal, it's not as free as without coronavirus. There's more sort of procedures that you have to go through. Although they're not a massive inconvenience, it does, when you're checking in at an airport or you go into a hotel, it does, introduce more time because you have to deal with a lot more coronavirus things. So it will be fantastic when things are back to normal. So, let's hope that can be as soon as possible. Okay, what else do we have? We have when you're back in the country. Oh, so BYD have a factory in California. I didn't know that. They're pretty big here in China. If you look around Shenzhen, I don't know whether any of you know, but the whole of the bus fleet in Shenzhen is electric, and all of the taxis in Shenzhen are electric, and pretty much all the buses, as far as I'm aware, and all the taxis are BYD vehicles. And I was at a shopping center a couple of weeks ago, and BYD was showing off some of their new models, and I was really pretty impressed with them. They are really, really kind of cool. My personal opinion, I think with EV, they're great if you're a city driver. But I think if you need to go a little bit further, they need to sort of work on that battery technology. But I believe that is in the pipeline, and I think the batteries will be getting better in the not too distant future. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I see Matt from the Gio Nation's back in the chat. Hi guys, for anyone coming over at the end of this stream, it'll be on at 11:30. Yeah, I'm going to end this stream at 11:30 p.m. And anybody that wants to continue seeing in the new year, you can jump over to Matt at the Gio Nation. He's going to continue streaming throughout the night. So we've just passed the 11 p.m. mark, which means that's a happy new year to anyone in Japan and South Korea, because they've just seen in the new year. So a happy new year to anybody who's tuning in from Japan or South Korea. Happy new year to you guys. The UK still got some time to go yet before it's new year. But then America's got even longer, so I hope Matt can stay awake long enough. I'm sure he can. He'll drink lots of coffee. He likes his black coffee, his Americanos, does Matt. So he'll be okay. He's got stamina, that man has. Mr. Fit. He can climb Everest. You can stay awake all night, right? Let's have a look. Got any more questions coming in? Oh, China. Uncle Mikey is in the chat. Happy New Year. Thank you, China Uncle Mikey. I'm not quite sure what you mean, Happy New Year anyway, but still. Matt says he's got coffee ready. So, yeah, I'm sure he's got lots of coffee ready. Me, I'm still drinking wine. I love a glass of rosé, and I've got chocolates to eat, and I'm going to eat another chocolate now. And I've got Quality Street. That's a UK brand of chocolate, very, very famous. That is. I spotted some at the supermarket today, so I treated myself to a box full of those. So let me just pick one out. I think this is a raspberry one, possibly, but they're very nice. I know. That's a strawberry soft centre. Delicious. Okay. Back to the comments and questions. Are you reading the chat, Lee? I am reading the chat. I'm reading the chat on my tablet here. Oh, very good. Look. Oh, see me on the screen reading the chat. There are a lot of comments coming in, so if I've missed you, I do apologise. Laura T, what's your plan after your live stream finishes? Are you going to wait and celebrate the countdown or just go to sleep? I will probably celebrate the countdown. I will send wishes to my good friends and family, and then I will go off to bed probably about 12:30 or so. I will do that, yeah. But as I said, Matt from Geo Nation is going to carry on the stream at 11:30 and take you right through the night. Well done, Matt. Is that an Australian wine you're drinking? I don't actually know. Let me have a look. Let's have a look. Where is it from? It's a sparkling wine. I've no idea. It's not an expensive wine. It was very reasonable. I think it's Spanish, actually. I'm not 100%. I've got a feeling it's Spanish. It's a rosé. It's a 7.5%, so it's not too strong. But it was very, very reasonably priced. It was on a special offer from Taobao, and we previously bought 3 bottles, which all got drank, and it was so nice that we bought another 3 bottles. I think it was only something like about 130 yuan for 3 bottles. So it's very, very cheap, because wine is generally quite expensive here in China. Well, red wine's expensive, but I'm not a big fan of red wine. It gives me a really bad headache. But this rosé wine is lovely. It's kind of a sparkling wine, so it's almost like fizzy soda, really, but got a bit of alcohol, and I don't drink too much because I go a bit drunk. But anyway, okay, so to make a video of Xing Xiaopeng. Yeah, we do really want to make a video on electric car factory, but it depends whether we can actually get into an electric car factory. We will give it a go. Now, you are right, Robert. It is not an Australian wine. I really hope China and Australia can sort out their differences. It's I think it's going to have a big effect on Australia if they don't. But I'm not going to get into that now. We want to keep it sort of upbeat and cheerful tonight, as we all hope 2021 can be a much better year than 2020. 2020 was not a good year for many, many people. A lot of people lost friends and relatives in 2021 due to COVID-19. Let's hope that 2021 can be a much better year. Okay, any more questions? Is there Turkish Delight in the assortment of quality? No, there's not Turkish Delight. I don't think there is. We've got the purple one, we've got fudge, we've got the green triangle, we have milk chocolate one, toffee, coconut eclair, caramel swirl, chocolate caramel brownie, that's a new one, orange cream, toffee finger, orange, strawberry. No, there is not, unfortunately. Let's have a look. China Uncle Mikey, I disagree with some of your opinions, but I wish 2021 your China journey will still be great. Thank you very much, Uncle Mikey. Yeah, that is the something that kind of bugs me a little bit when people personally attack us for some of the content we put out. The content we put out is based on what we see and experience or our opinion. And I must stress that it is our opinion. And you don't have to agree with that opinion, Everybody has different opinions, Some people agree with their opinion, some people don't agree with their opinion. But the point is, it's our opinion. And I think to be personally attacked for that is wrong. I think that people should respect other people's opinions. And I think the world is coming to a place where sort of people don't respect people's opinions. Like I see the West doesn't seem to respect that China has a system that it wants to follow. And it's been pretty good to the people and it works for China. But in America's opinion, they want to install their style of government everywhere. And, that's not for everybody, and that's fine. But I think it's wrong for the West to try and push that on to China when the system China have got is working for a majority of their people, and the majority of the people are relatively happy with most of it. Of course, it's not a perfect system. Nobody's pretending it is a perfect system. But it's a system that appears to be working for a majority of the Chinese people. So I think, the West need to respect that. That's their system and leave it alone. Stop trying to force them into something that they don't want to do. The purple one is the best, or the penny toffee. They've actually, that's the penny toffee. The purple one is definitely the best. That is by far my favorite. A nice hazelnut in there, wrapped in soft caramel, and that's the penny toffee. That one's a bit of a problem for me because I get worried it'll pull my teeth out. But I like the finger toffee, because the finger toffee, that's a bit softer. Yeah, that's a nice one. In fact, I'm going to eat that now. No, I won't. I'm going to have the coconutty one. That's the blue one. Look, I like that. So, okay, so we have about 15 minutes left of this stream before we hand over to Matt at the Gio Nation. I really, really appreciate you all joining me tonight. I know I've sat here and babbled for 2.5 hours. However, it's been great to connect with you guys. And as I said earlier, we will try and do more live streams in the new year. Yeah, it's kind of funny with Quality Street, because what happens, you got a lot of different chocolates in there. What happens, you eat all your favorites first, and then you're left with all the ones that you don't really like as much. So that's always an interesting one. Okay, so what we got here? So yeah, it's been an interesting year, and as I say, it'd be great if 2021 is better. By the way, it's not fair to eat all candies by yourself. Share some with us. Yeah, I just can't get them through the screen. That's the problem. I was absolutely chuffed. I've never seen these in a supermarket in China before, and I went to Sam's Club today and I saw a box there, and I treated myself. They're kind of a bit more expensive here in China, though. There's 128 RMB. There'd be about 50 RMB in the UK. I miss some of the UK chocolate. I am ordering KFC for supper, Caliber wings. Oh my God. You had steak for dinner and now you're ordering KFC. I do like KFC though. It is very, very nice. Joe Nix, normal life videos will help West understand China more. I hope so. Caliber wings, Turkish. I love Turkish Delight. Unfortunately, there's no Turkish Delight in Quality Street. But I love Turkish Delight. I miss that. I will have ribeye for dinner. Swiss Bow. Where are you, Swiss Bow? Whereabouts are you coming in from? Since I discovered your channel recently, along with Jayo, Guelo60 and Jerry Good, I've been following you guys. I would like to see before and after contents of poverty alleviation in villages. It's actually hard to see before now because so many villages have had new stuff built in order to alleviate the poverty. We will